Welcome to another episode of the Warm Up Series. We are here with our special guest, Shamel Jackson. Hey, Shamel, how are you?
Hey.
Okay, so Shamel has a unique topic that a lot of us have experienced, but I don't think that we necessarily talk about. But it's going through a long term relationship and then breaking up. So, Shamel, do you mind opening up about, how you guys met?
Sure, I can do that. We met at my church actually, just to kind of like make a long story short, we met in my church and when we initially were introduced to each other, but fast forward to 2 years later after we met, he was in a different state actually. And someone else at my church told me about him and thought we would make a cute couple. And so, well, a good couple. I won't say cute, but good together. And he got my number and he called and we started talking and we ended up dating for almost 4 years. We were long distance, like 12 hours apart because he was in the process of moving when we did start dating to another state. And so after about 2 years, I noticed a shift in the relationship because I wasn't ready to move, but he was ready for me to move there. But I was like, oh no, I'm trying to do this and that. I'm not ready to move. But I noticed he became distant, and I finally, got the reason. He just did not want to be in a relationship anymore, and we broke up. And so that's how we met, and then that's how we ended up breaking up.
Okay. Was How was it in the beginning? Like, did you know that it was going to be a long distance situation, or did you not know?
I don't really think I took time to really process the distance part. I was just thinking he's like a great guy. He's been vetted by some friends that I trust. And I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot because I mean, I don't think it would have hurt anything because we had a lot of the same values. And that's important to me for us to have lot of the same spiritual values. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. Not thinking about, when I'm gonna move it. I just wasn't thinking any of those things like he was. He was actually older than me. So I think that may have played a part into it as well. But I was like, I'm doing my own thing. I had just started getting to, becoming an author or trying to be one at that time. And I just was not, and trying to get my career started in teaching. So I really wasn't focused on moving to where he was. And so I just didn't process it. I didn't process the distance and what I didn't. I guess you could say count the cost or really, think about okay, when you plan to move? Because at some point you want to be in the same place as this person. But I just did not. That wasn't my priority, I guess, at that point. But it was his, and but when it became my priority, it was no longer his priority, and we parted ways.
What was the age gap? You said it was an age gap.
Well, he wasn't that much. We were like 4 years apart.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
I was let me see, 28. About to be 29.
Okay. What made you? I know you said you guys shared the same qualities. What qualities made you say, I want to be with him?
Well, one of the things that when my friend first told me about him, she said he is a virgin. I was like, what? A virgin in his 30s? I actually wrote this in the book. A virgin in his 30s. I have to meet him. Like I got to because it's like what like I said, where they do that at? Like where does where did that happen? So I was like, yeah, that's what really caught my attention because for anybody that's waiting or, for any extended period of time, you want to find somebody who believes in that with you because that just, you're in agreement. There won't be any kind of disconnect on that's a serious topic. So it's not like, oh, your favorite color blue and your mine's pink. That ain't nothing to not be with somebody about. But as far as your, values, that's important to make a deciding factor. That's a deciding factor of where you should be in a relationship with that person.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Outside of
Yeah.
him being a virgin, what other qualities did you like about him?
He had a real relationship with God. It wasn't something he just go to church on Sunday. He actually was trying to walk out what we was reading in the Bible. And so that helped that was attractive as well. And he just respected me. You know, he was yeah, he just respected me just an individual, and just it wasn't no game. He was honest about what he was wanted to do. And he had goals. He was goal oriented. He was working towards the goals. It was not some, I'm just doing any kind of thing. He was really living his life in purpose. And so that is really appealing to me. If you live in your life in purpose, you don't have to, no one's, arrived, but just to be on that journey is a very noticeable thing for me.
Okay. When did it shift? Like what how did you know like what characteristics shows you, man, this he's changing? Like how did you know there was a shift in the dynamic of the relationship?
There was like an emotional disconnect. Like the calls became less. The excitement to visit each other became like less. Like we're not talking about it anymore. And then also when I talked about future plans, or he talked about his future plans, he didn't mention me. And so it was kind of it was a red flag, but I ignored it. I guess he wasn't direct at this point. He wasn't really direct, but he got direct because he didn't have a choice at this point when he did get direct. But just the emotional disconnect, and then just not wanting to, make plans for us to meet, and and we were 12 hours apart, so it wasn't like I can jump in my car and drive to your house through, it was, you had to get on a plane to do that. And so that that caused, okay, we can't see each other that often because of the distance and the expenses it takes to visit the person, because we 12 hours apart. And so I think before we broke up in June 2018, but we hadn't seen each other since that December. So you're talking about half a year. I haven't seen this person that I'm in a relationship with. And then before that, it was months. So it was just emotional disconnect. And I kept, I was like, something ain't right. He's not, I don't feel like a priority anymore. I need to know what's going on.
Okay, you say he got direct. What did him getting direct with not wanting to be with you look like?
Um, Now it took a minute for him to finally get to it, but I ended up leaving a voicemail actually, because he didn't. Well, yeah, I left a voicemail when I called, because I was on my way to work. I think I called him back. I was on my way to work. No, it's like I called and left voicemail, and then he called me back, and I was at work at this point. And so we talked the next day, but I was on my way to work. He did not mention, because I left a voicemail saying basically what is going on. And so when he called back, I'm on my way to work, and he finally says, "Okay, I don't feel the same way I felt about you anymore."
On a
And so
voicemail?
no, on the phone. We talking on the phone
Okay,
now.
okay,
So
okay.
this is the next day. I'm sorry. I left a voicemail one day, and then when he called, I didn't have time. No, I left the voicemail. Then he called. Then we talked the next day, and
Okay.
I was on my way to work, and that's when we had the conversation. That's when we broke up. I'm in the car. I'm in the car driving to work, and we broke up on the phone.
He just came out and that's it. I don't want you anymore.
No, he said a lot. He said a few things, but they all boil down to, I don't have those romantic feelings for you anymore. I can't manufacture those feelings that he once had for me anymore. He wanted us to be casual friends. And so, and I got off the phone actually probably right after he said it and bawled my eyes out to my friend, and we had a final conversation probably like almost a couple of days later. I can't remember. I think it was a couple of days later. We officially had the final conversation just to kind of like hash out some things. I had questions, like, did I do something wrong? That's the first thing we asked. What did I do wrong? And he said I didn't. He he said I did nothing wrong.
Okay, so I know in the start of this story he was a virgin.
Yeah,
Did he lose his virginity at some point or cheat or was there so he was still a virgin when he made the decision to not be with you?
right.
Okay. Okay. Him basically saying I don't want to be with you anymore. Could you describe how you felt in that moment? Like just processing it, having to go to work? Were you able to function at work? Like what did you do?
I didn't go to work actually. When I got to the parking lot, I called my supervisor. I didn't explain what happened. I don't even remember exact words, but I didn't say I broke up with my boyfriend. I didn't say that. That's I said I had some personal issues or whatever the case may be, and I didn't go to work that day, and I didn't go to work the next day because I was working another job too in the earlier part of the day, and I didn't go there either, and I was just in the bed, and I was like, did this really happen? This really did just happen. Like he really said that. Like I can't believe this, you know. And I called my mom when I got to at the parking lot at work. It's after I talked to one of my friends, and she thought I was in a car accident because I was that hysterical over it. And I was like, no, this is what he said, and it was devastating. Actually, it was actually really devastating because I was like, I knew I sensed something was wrong, but it's one thing to sense it, and it's another thing for somebody to say what you're sensing. Like it's totally different. It's just different
Could you explain how it's different?
because it's you hear the truth, and that's not what you wanted. We create this what we want it to be, and when it doesn't turn out to be that, like it hurts because that's not how I pictured this. Like I wanted to, if we had broken up, I didn't know I actually said, I thought maybe it would be a mutual understanding. Like this just not going to work out. We're not for each other. Even though if I had moved and we found out, okay, this is not working out, but to say, for us to break up that way, I think I was probably more hurt at how we broke up versus that we broke up because I'm like, you basically lied about the last 2 years because I kept asking him. I asked him for like almost 2 years, what's the problem? And he never said none of this. And he sensed it. He knew something was up when I was asking him. So I'm like, not now we not only did we break up, you lied for months, even years about what I'm asking you. So I felt betrayed is what I betrayed because you lied to me. And that's another level of her. Like it's so many things, the lie, the breakup. I had to process that for a while. Like I can't believe this.
So, do you feel if he would have provided clarity when you initially asked him, it would have hurt less?
Um, I don't know. I that's something I have thought about. What if we had broke up sooner would have hurt less? I don't know because at this point I was invested because I was in the middle of a job application process, interview process. I had did 2 interviews with a company there where he was, and they was about to interview. Yeah, and so they was about to interview me for the third time. I hadn't been there. We did this all virtual. So I was telling him, got the interview, yada yada yada. This is the third interview, and then some told me the third interview was going to be like it was a teaching position, so they wanted me to video teaching a lesson, and I was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do it, and I don't know why. It just don't feel right doing it. So that's when I said I'm gonna call him before I do this demo lesson. I need to know what is really happening. That's what it was, and I ended up canceling. The next day, I emailed them. I said I ain't gonna be with their interview, and so because I won't be relocating anymore. So I was invested emotionally. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't. It's just for me, it was I was invested the whole 4 years, not 2 years, and I was done. No, I was invested the entire time. So,
And you were about to move, and he knew that. But
right.
you don't feel that it was any like he was talking to anyone. You just feel like he was being honest the whole time.
I did ask him that, and not to say he can't lie because he lied for 2 years. That's he could be lying, he could, but I can't make all I can say that's what what he said. I can't do nothing else. I don't have any proof that if it was somebody, I don't got no proof. I don't have no proof at this point, so I can only take what he said and move on with what the truth that I do have. That's what I got to deal with. We not together no more. How is Shamel gonna move forward? And that's how I took it. So I don't know. Maybe there's more to his story. I have no idea, but I did my part in asking what is wrong and how long you've been feeling this way and all of that. And so if he had something else he needed to say, he could have said it and that'd have been it. Because at that point, you just might well tell it all. Because it's the truth gonna hurt, but I think we need to know the truth. We need to know
Yeah.
the truth.
Question. So, how did you move on? Like, what did you do to get over it?
Oh goodness. I actually went on a fast not too long after that. I shut down. I was doing nothing, like building the business, like trying to do all this. I had paused all of that because I was like, I'm not even in the emotional state to make life decisions, even though I was trying to leave the city. Because I was like, when I would go to church, I would think about, because that's where we met, at my church. And I'm like, every time I go to church, that's what I'm thinking about. I was like, I got to get out of this city. So I was trying to relocate to another somewhere else, but that did not happen. I stayed in Memphis. And so, but just I started with a fast and kind of like settle myself, and get to myself, me and God, because I was like, that's the only hope. That's it. That's all I can do right now. And so that's all I needed to do at that point. But one thing I did do that I had never done before was go to therapy. And I didn't have any family I knew that went to therapy, or immediate family. We never went to therapy. So I told my mom I was going to therapy, and she received it really well. And I was like, when I went to that therapy, the first session, I bust out crying. I don't even know this person. I bust out crying in the first session. And it was hard. It was hard, but therapy was probably, if I had to list top three things that helped me heal, was therapy.
Hmm.
Because it helped me process the relationship, actually, and it helped me find out some things myself that has nothing to do with him, that also made me feel even more hurt by the breakup. And it had nothing to do with him. It's just something I had to deal personally going forward.
What things did you find out about yourself in therapy?
Oh Lord, it's probably in the middle of it was 10 sessions, I think. 10 sessions. Then midway through, I found out I really had an issue with my self-esteem.
Hmm.
And so that meant I was putting a lot of my identity, how people felt about me. So I was putting my identity how he felt about me, because I liked him. So if I like, okay, if you say this, that must mean I'm this. Or if you don't approve of this, then I'm not gonna do that no more, because I was into the whole people pleasing. And so I just unraveling that was like the best thing the best and the hardest thing to do, actually, is just to deal with me, because it was bigger than the breakup. Like, this is Shamel, you really got to like do some inner work on you, not just get over him, but you got to work on you.
Hmm. And you started doing the work. So, how long, collectively, how long would you say it took you to get over the breakup?
It took about a year and a half when I actually started to even think about dating somebody. Like, even just the thought of dating, it took me like a year and a half, because before that I was like, I don't want to date nobody. I'm not gonna date nobody. I don't trust nobody. I don't want to do none of that, because this person, somebody I deep trust, you lie for a long time. So I just don't even know what to do with that right now. I don't think I could be able to trust the person again. But eventually I got over it. Humans are going to be human. And so it took about a year and a half to even just to have the thought to date anybody.
Okay, this year is 2024. We see a lot of stuff out there. Like, we definitely live in a hypersexual society. What is life like being a virgin in your late 30s in 2024 and trying to navigate dating?
My friend who uses saying something about women who have decided to be celibate now. And I used to joke with her. I'm like, where were they when I was 16, 17, 18, and everybody was making fun of me for making this decision? But now we're in our 30s. Not everybody, but people are saying, okay, maybe this waiting thing is not so bad. But just like anything else, sometimes you have to live and learn from different things. So I can't, be like that. But still, I was still in that moment. I was like, what was everybody else at? Because people was looking at me crazy. And now here you are. We are at the same age, and you making this decision. So it's good. In that moment, I was like, I wish y'all was thinking this when I was doing it. It would have made it a little bit easier, because sometimes you can feel like an outcast, because
Hmm.
they make you feel like everybody's doing, when I was younger, like much younger. But um actually, because it's actually easier as I got older, I feel like, because it helps me to narrow down or set boundaries for myself about who I associate myself with. And so once I know that, okay, this person, because I've ran into guys who were interested in me, but once we talk about that part, it's it's shut down either on my end or their end. Because I'm like, we wasting each other's time. If this is not what you're on, then we don't even need to go any further. We wasting time. So some guys do think of it as a challenge and they try to hang on, but I know what's gonna happen. It's not gonna work. We're not even finna, go there.
How soon do they try putting that on the table?
Uh, it hasn't happened lately, but I remember a couple years ago. Um, I think I bring it up. And that's another lesson within itself when you bring that topic up. But I just, for me, it was back then. It was more so I don't want to get emotionally invested, and then we come to that part, and it's like, okay, we're not in agreement. Then I gotta go start back over, and I don't get, So I kind of have to judge when I bring that conversation up if they don't know that already. But I can just tell by the conversation if this person, if that's what they want to do in their life. And so if the conversation going that way, then I go ahead and just kind of like express where I'm at with that. And sometimes they deny it, that that's not what they want. That's not what they're here for. And they may not be, but I'm just saying you can like me and still, you know, you can like me for me and not just for that. But um but I know most times it's almost like they can sense it. So I don't get a lot of people that try to holler at me like that, and I don't have to address it too much. Yeah, so it's interesting that when I think about it, because I don't get to, like, it's not that many people, like, I think that can sense it. Oh, well, she not. I feel like she not even about this. I'm not even trying to talk to her.
Oh, they can say. What are some of the benefits you feel from abstaining?
Oh goodness. That's, you don't have that tie with that person, because that's something that's meant for me and where I believe that's something you share with someone you're gonna spend with the rest of your life with. So I don't have to face, okay, when I have sex with this person and we break up, now it's like, okay, I don't gave you my body. Now we ain't even together no more. So then it's like, oh no, now you got to work on healing from that, and then you go to the next person. I don't have to deal with entangling. Well, I don't say entangling, getting attached to so many people, or different people, I should say. You don't have to be a lot, but different people. And then if it don't work out, I gotta hear from that situation, and I gotta hear from this. So that's one benefit. It's when you start getting, and from what I've heard, once you get to take that step, your vision gets clouded. You start ignoring things that you wouldn't ignore if you were just like sober minded, because you're clear. You thinking without all the extra stuff that comes when you get sexually involved with somebody. So I think that's a benefit with abstaining. And also, just it weeds out. It really, you get to see a person for who they are, because you have to do a lot of talking when when you're not having sex or doing things that lead to sex. You are talking a lot to this person, because y'all have done that. You're talking a lot to that person, so you really get to know them for who you are. And then it's a discipline. So you learn how to discipline yourself, and discipline, we need it in a lot of areas of life. So if you can be disciplined in that area, you can be disciplined in a lot of areas. So yeah, it's a lot of benefits. I probably
Okay.
didn't name all, but that's something that came off the top of my head.
As far as men, do you have a restrict, like, for, let's say you're dating someone or decide to date someone who's not a virgin? Is there a cap or a limitation on how many women that they've been with before you, like as far as sexually, or like what
I
would you
don't want
do?
to. I don't want to know. Honestly, I don't want to know how many women they have slept with. Because it's important, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to know that. I don't want to know. I have not asked that question. I don't know. Because then I'm gonna be thinking about that. I just want to.
You
I
never
guess, huh?
You never thought about it, or
No, I have, but I always say I don't ask them how many people they slept with, you know. But if you have multiple children as a result of these experiences, and then I'm gonna have a lot of questions now because I'm like, you know. So it's interesting to do that. So it's different dating a virgin and then encountering somebody who's not a virgin. It's different questions because now it's like, okay, are you what kind of life, like how does your daily walk look versus mine? I think about all that stuff because I know what I got to do to stay this way until I'm married. But what are you doing, or are you even wanting to do that? But I don't want to know that. I don't want to know how many people they slept with. I really don't want to know that.
when it comes to kids, is there a limitation on kids? Like how many kids I can have?
Um, Now I was talking to somebody who had two kids, and I realized as I got older, I needed to, kind of be more flexible if I want to date somebody with kids. And this person had um two kids with two different or two different baby moms, but one was his ex-wife. So it's like, okay, you were once married with this person that you had a child, but then you have another, kid outside of marriage. So I would say it just depends. I don't ever want to say now you got 10 kids. Now I ain't doing that, but I think it depends on how old you are, how many uh how old you are, how many baby mothers, I'm gonna say baby mothers you have, and then how old those kids. It's just so many things. How old those kids are. Were you married to their mom? Like I want to know all of those questions. Like answer to those questions because that matters. Because I'm like, okay, well, who am I? If you doing and that now I need to know your intentions with me. If that's what you're doing in the past, not to say you're the same person, but I still need to know those type of things because you may be still this person I'm looking at today.
Okay, so circling back to long distance, would you ever consider a long distance relationship again?
I would, but I think I would maneuver about it differently. Um,
The same amount, like the same, like you
no,
said, you guys were.
yeah, no, that's a no, because you got to think practically too. Oh, like, okay, you got to think practically. If I'm meet somebody tomorrow that's 12 hours away from me, I'm thinking like, no, I don't know about that because I'm thinking like when we're gonna see each other. I've been there before, so it's like okay, one of us gonna have to move. So then you got to take that. I knew I wouldn't want to be long distance long. So if I dated somebody long distance, my mindset would be we need to be moving in the same place. Somebody needs to move ASAP because I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that no more. 4 years long distance. No, for one, because I'm getting older. That's number one. And then two, it's just that's too much time. That's a lot of time. So I learned my lesson. No, if I'm gonna if I meet somebody long distance, we need to start thinking, okay, if is this going somewhere? If it is, we need to be moving in the same place. And that's gonna be that. Because I'm not doing that again. No.
When you guys worked together, what did you do to make your relationship work during the time you were together? And do you feel like it was enough to sustain the relationship, or do you feel like you guys could have done more to sustain?
Oh, I did a lot of things because you got to get real creative when you're in a long distance relationship. So we did Skype calls. We did some Skype calls pretty much just to kind of see each other face to face, digitally. But I did try to, just try to change up something, give ideas for people who I have even looked up ideas on, how things to do when you're in a long distance relationship. Like, but I just, he wasn't into it. I guess at that point, I don't know when I started doing those things, but he was just not into it because he didn't want to be. Um, and and it was nothing I can do. I don't think it was anything I could do to change that. But even because he didn't even want me to move, he wasn't pressing the issue to move anymore. So what if I move? You still wasn't. I mean, it was just nothing.
Hmm. What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about abstaining, or who maybe feels like they're being pressured by societal standards to have sex, but they don't necessarily want to have sex? What
Okay.
advice would you give to them?
Okay, repeat that again.
So,
From
society, like a lot of times we do see hypersexuality, like you see, in the music videos, you see people half naked, not shaming them or anything. But you see a lot of sexual activity going on, whether it be on the internet, on TV, in person, whatever the case may be. Let's say somebody makes the decision that they do want to abstain, but they feel pressured by societal standards to not abstain from sex. What advice would you give to that person on
I would
abstaining?
say, right. I would say you need to be in a community that supports your decision. Because the world gonna be the world. It don't matter. The world gonna be the world. But you really have to take a stance. Okay, if this something you're really serious about, then you kind of have to like build your community centered around your values. Just like you would anything else. Like if you got some financial goals you're trying to reach, you're gonna center around your things that promote you reaching your financial goals. So that's number one, having community and surrounding yourself with people that's going to support your decision. And remember your why, about why am I doing this, because there will be some days you like I ain't feeling this no more, I'm not studying this. But if you remember your why, but also still surround yourself with a community that's going to hold you accountable, um that's important to me, because I do have people I'm held accountable to. Like I have accountability in different areas. So that helps too. When I'm around people who have the same values as me, I don't feel, pressure to give into what the world's trying to sell or selling me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shamil.
You're
Could you
welcome.
plug your book or plug anything you have going in the near future?
Okay. Okay. Well, we talked about abstinence and being a virgin. So my first book, Wait, Women and Intimate Tales, actually, I share my whole abstinence journey as well as have other women discuss how they define sex and if they waited, why they decided to wait to marriage to have sex, or if they didn't wait, what was that experience like? This is available on Amazon and my website as well, www.breakingitdowncj.com. And then I have the book, Girl Forget All That, which I talk about the long distance relationship, how we started and then how we ended, and then me getting back into the dating scene as well. And just, the blessings because there were some blessings from the breakup. I talk about that. And then this is available on Amazon as well. And this is also available in an ebook on Amazon. And then this is available on my website, www.breakingitdowncj.com.
Okay. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Shamil,
Thank
for
you.
visiting us on the warm up series. Say
Okay,
bye.
bye.
Okay. Give me one